Welcoming you back to crypto's juiciest news, baby dolls. Bitcoin still at 107,000 American dollars. It is starting to curl down and roll over just a little bit. I'll show you now a zoom up of that as we get to see right here. But I can just quickly tell you, I saw some Uncle Bobby analysis, and he's confirming, confirming that I guess in the next week or so, Bitcoin has like a little bit of a testy test down before we're ready to go. I like looking at these squiggly lines from everyone else out here. Now, friends, I've got to tell you something. Like, this is the most critical news. We're going to go through all USA government or all this other khara. Don't worry about it, okay? The number one most important news I can tell you is that I can now see where we are right now. There is one scenario that traps, I guess, the crypto cycle participants. And that would be if we peak out in December this year. Okay? It's basically, it's like you get your fair share and there's enough people trapped and convinced. Why is that? If we jitter down here and we go up, all right, there are many KOLs, friends, not just PulseChain. I'm talking about Blockchain Backer, Uncle Bobby, Crypto Banter, you name it, bro. Literally, Ivan, literally everyone, friends. Everyone thinks the cycle's over in July. Now, and it's funny, they're all doing their own independent analysis, which is all, and they're all, everybody's smart, right? Yeah. And so, and Crypto Crew University, Steve, literally everybody believes we top out in July. So if we went and topped out in July, what do they all have? They go, okay, well then Bitcoin drops 75% and it's pretty much all over. All right. The trap that could occur, all right, it's not even really a trap. It would be basically we go in July, everyone thinks it's over, right? All right, I don't know where we stop. Okay, that's the hard part. Do we come back here, right? Do we poke under? I don't know. But it would be if we gather strength, everyone thinks it's over, and then we actually run into December, all right? And we actually run into December of this year. Now, why would that trap everybody? Now, by the way, I don't know what price it's going to be for Bitcoin. I hope it's 250K. I really do, all right? I feel like the Bitcoin price, remember I've told you, I don't know the Bitcoin price I got, but conceptually, I feel like Bitcoin will hit a number and a mood and a sentiment where people will believe it is now racist and illegal for it to go under 100K. Okay, what number is that going to take? I don't know. Are people going to believe that 100K is impossible when we hit 200? I don't know. Okay, I don't know. I hope not. I hope more like Bitcoin hits like 300K or something, right? I hope we see like a 300 number and then everyone says, no way we'll go below 100 ever again. And then we ping back down to 80. Okay, that's something I hope for. But then that would be slightly breaking the diminishing gains or whatever. Okay, so that's just to let you know. So that would be, so what I've said to you, so if we peak out in December of this year, remember, there will be a lot of the July people. So people who are going to sell, right? They're going to sell soon. Why will that trap them? Well, they would be embarrassed as non-believer Jeets, and it would make them question whether the cycle's going to run longer than they think and something's changed. That's what would happen, okay? And I'm not saying it's going to. I'm just saying that's what would happen in this sort of like, I guess, trap. So you actually do get a standard 4-year cycle. Friends, do you remember I've been saying for literally, it's been like 4 years. Like 2022, 3, 4, and now all of 5. I've been saying, my gosh, bro. I've been saying this like every day for like 3.5 years, actually. Wait for December 2025. Now, I did not know we were going to like manifest it. It was just like a long-term plan thing. I just did not think it might actually come down to the wire. I've actually December 2025. Now, I want to tell you something as well. Everything that I just said there. So if Bitcoin tops in December 2025, maybe Altseason happens 2026, like January, February, like 1 or 2 months, you know, the delay part. That's literally a copy paste of the 2017 cycle. Donald Trump was president. Interest rates were tight. China was stimulating. The US dollar was going down. It literally copy paste. Okay. So if you want to know, let's look at philosophically what happened with Bitcoin in 2017 and the crypto market. Well, you go up here in the middle of the year, June, July, all right? Half the people think it's over. if you're interested as well, Raoul Powell sells here, by the way. I think he buys at like 400, sells at like 4,000. He makes like a 10x. He's like, okay, cool, I'm a genius. So somewhere around this, in this run up, right? Originally. That's when he obviously regrets it, yeah. But then what ends up happening is Bitcoin continues to run. This is the December. Okay, this is the December candle. And this red candle here is literally a giant, massive alt season, and it's all over. Now, I want you to think about, you don't know it's all over, right? It's rolling and rolling. You don't know it's all over. Okay, so it's a slow period of time. But this is something that might be interesting to think about, okay? Where we run after, let's say we're Julie, right? Where we run up into the end of the year, we basically retrace most of it in 2026, right? The next year. So what could that number be? Obviously, everybody wants like, 400K Bitcoin, but it could be something like this, where we run up, Bitcoin is 250K, yeah? And then maybe by like July, August next year, or September, we've retraced back to like 140, something like this. And everyone thinks, oh, cool. It's actually sweet. But then bear markets being bear markets, something with the stock market and more red candles just takes us down. And that might get us to break through this 100K, get all these non-believer governments out, all the turbo leverage shares out, all these Michael Saylor wannabes out, and it basically wipes them all out. Stock market tumbles with us, and whatever it is. Okay, don't bother trying to predict the event. You'll never get it. Okay, so that's exactly how it would be like playing 2017 if we were to get that. And if we were to get that, so I might have to make another video just to flesh that out, because man, that's the whole game, man. Like you got to be skits the whole time. That's it. You have to be paranoid. Only the paranoid survive. Okay, because look what happens if you miss this. By the way, you got another 4 years to wait. I know most of you don't, right? So the stakes are high, but we've got nothing to worry about yet. Okay, still. How are we going to reconcile this OTHERS-btc? That's something to think about as well. So here's OTHERS-btc. We still have 6 red in a row. Well, I don't know how it's going to reconcile, but you never know, man. We might actually, I know it's wild to think, man, we literally might just get like 4 something huge green candles and then like a schizo sideways. And then like next year, January, February, March, it like finishes it off with the alt season. That could happen. Because like, you got to think, right, back in 2017, right, when we entered 2018, right, actually, I'll just show you on the chart right now, okay, just so like, let me show you, friends, let me not show you OTHERS-btc, let me show you OTHERS USD, which is going to blow your freaking mind. And I've got it right here, man. I mean, like, friends, just check this out, okay, so this 2017 year, remember, this thing ran literally 300x. So yes, you buy any altcoin outside of the top 10, your average return was 300x, not joking either. Yeah, 10% was scams, didn't even launch. Every ICO from launch, like if your ICO, you're on side 3x, and then it launches on the exchange, and then everything went literally like another 30 to 50, right? But remember, you didn't know about crypto, so it was a different time. Here's the thing though. Look what others did. See January 18. This is the final alt season blow off thing, okay? So think about this. From November, look what altcoins did in the final run up to January, another 8x. So November, December, January. Like because now that's more powerful, right? Because you have everybody in the world is now in, and then it runs another freaking 8x. Okay. Now we're not going to get that fast. Of course we're not. The market caps are too big. This is what this piece of garbage now looks like. So it's going to be obviously, hopefully a juicy number. I don't know how juicy. I'm hoping the total move is 10x, which would be huge, about 2.5 trillion for others. But that's what traps everybody, okay, when you're thinking about entering the next year. So that's pretty much why does everybody get fooled from the bear market, okay? You look at more conceptuals here. It's because the freaking year starts off good, right? That's why. That's what I noticed. That's what I actually get to see every time. The freaking year starts off good, friends. So if you're looking at January 18, Ethereum peaks 1,400 here. You have... Like Verge did a 1000x, XRP had just peaked 2017. Because this is actually what happens, okay? Story-wise, for us in the universe, everyone goes to Christmas dinner this year, yeah? December 25th, and they're talking to their family over the barbecues and dinners and stuff out here. They go, oh, crypto's been like amazing. It's like so good to get in. Things are really, really good. It's like making so much money. And then all their friends and family who heard about it, they're like, oh, you know what? I'm going to get into it. I'm going to get into it. And they finally actually put in their money like the January, February. Right? That's actually what happens like that next month. And that's actually the end. It's like everybody like fine been holding crypto forever and it's finally starting to get good. And they all decide to do that at the very, very end. Okay? So the year starts off good, and that's why nobody can like really even believe that, hey, bro, you know, the year starts off good. It's going to end like you wish you never touched it, right? I mean, Others itself was down 92%. Everything pretty much got destroyed. So if you notice this as well, actually what I'll do, friends, I've got to crank it up a bit for us. It's still a believer cycle. It's still a believer cycle and a mogger cycle. Remember, I'm not fixated on any price. Market, the prices, they'll fool you. Your portfolio value will fool you. Okay, it doesn't care what your number is. It doesn't care if you're up 1000x. It doesn't care if you're literally up 50% and you've been waiting 5 years to buy it. It does not care. It's going to do whatever it's going to do. So I want to know that context for the cycle. What's everyone thinking and feeling? Well, there's a battle now, right? Remember I said it's a believer cycle? Well, that's why I think this July, right? Month of July, I think there will be that pop. We probably maybe do get to that fib up here. Everyone thinks it's over, but it's not actually over. And this is where maybe the hold of your lifetime will actually start. I know you think, oh, you mean it hasn't actually gotten hard yet? No. Because everyone's always like higher, higher, higher. You might actually see people here where they start to say, oh, we're actually going lower now. 4-year cycle's over. It's been 4 years, bro. You're getting greedy. They're going to say stuff like that. So I think if we ran back up into December, right, all these people who sold here, they start buying back. And they get back in, and then you pick it and name it. Some news has to trap them. The Tai Lopez equivalent. Something has to trap them, you know? Does the US Fed say, we're going to print money, we're going to buy Bitcoin? Okay. I don't know what it's going to be. Some sort of exotic signal. Something where, you know, it appears. Remember, I'm going to throw stuff at you as well. Like, we might see a series as well throughout Altseason, maybe in the next 6 to 8 months. Ripple's IPO, Kraken's IPO, they're all going to get listed on the stock market. They're all just going to get listed. Maybe Dogecoin ETF, you know, manias like that. There's also a strong theme happening where everybody wants to be the next Michael Saylor. So all these companies, they are receiving stock premiums for putting Bitcoin on their balance sheet. Like we even saw Gamestop as well, which I'll quickly show you before we crack on. If you look at GME Gamestop, let's see what happened to their stock price. Okay, it was awesome. They gapped up and they just instantly dumped 14%, which is funny to think about as well. So yeah, that's hilarious. They're like gapped up. Oh, cool. We put Bitcoin on the balance sheet. And then it just does this. So man, that'll be wild if this thing works out. Is Roaring Kitty still in this thing, friends? I don't know. Man, that'll be wild if this thing actually does some sort of monster move where maybe this thing does end up coming back to the highs for everyone to get out. That'd be hilarious, man. So, in essence, okay, there's nothing to worry about now. And like, you even think about it, friends. If you go back to 2017, no one was rich by June of 2017. And then like everybody was rich in December. You know, you went from like literally no one's rich. Only the true, strong, hardcore believers in the few things that were running. You know, early Ethereum ICO and stuff out here. But all the big stuff comes at the end. So, we're going to remain professional. We will have our nipples pegged at all times, and we are going to make it. I'm now going to go through some cracker news here. David Nutsacks has said, so David Nutsacks, friends of CryptoZar, they've had the Bitcoin conference right now, which is a joke itself. They've invited all like CBDC, currency, all these other trash that's been pretty much plaguing crypto industry. But this is the blockchain now, bro. Like, you know, we got our own Cypherpunk dream and all these other things out here. But do people give a shit about it? No. But here's the thing. Luckily for us, I know other people do care about it. And the price and valuations are so low, for example, on PulseChain, that the product market fit is good. Yeah. It's kind of like, okay, maybe you're not a vegan. Okay. Maybe, you know, you water plants, you like to eat plants, but you also, you know, steak's tasty too. Let's say there's like literally a whole city and there are no vegan sandwich shops. Okay, you're not a vegan yourself, but you know what, man, not everyone's vegan, you know, but some people just love eating plants, just plants. You'd love to open up a store, wouldn't you, and have product market fit. That's how you got to think of this cypherpunk stuff, you know. Obviously, not equating cypherpunks to vegans, but you get the idea, right? Something that you might not relate with, but there is a product market fit there. So David Nutsack said, we see that blockchain, Bitcoin, crypto, this is the financial system of the future. So obviously they're talking about transparency of payments, faster networks and stuff out here. Also, the government, friends, wants the stablecoin super cycle to happen because that creates a bid for US treasuries so they can keep spending more money in the future. Donald Trump Jr. says he thinks Bitcoin is going to the moon. I think we're just at the forefront and it's only going up. Zero value there. It's just literally like, my bags are going up, sir, which is, that's what you want, actually. But actually, I'm joking, bro. There is value there. You think about the president, all the affiliation, all these companies, all these powerful people, politics, everyone's getting in, friends. We want them all to get in. We need them all to get in because then, like, the extreme euphoria comes out somewhere and they get some wild, wild stuff done. You know, like I hate to say it, what if one of them gets a Bitcoin tattoo, bro? In like December this year. What if Bitcoin literally cracks 250K and they get that Bitcoin tattoo? And then your friend Simon is going to come out. I'll be getting my mug glasses out and I'll be saying, excuse me, sir. You have now priced in the $1 million Bitcoin in your mind by getting that tattoo on yourself. Okay. So you've already priced in the Bitcoin $1 million right now, even though the price is 250K. It's like that magical dragon you never catch, right? So we are in extreme euphoria zone. Okay, that might be what actually comes down to and what we can see. Something also to think about, friends, because remember, I'm always thinking about the future, right? In every single bear market of crypto, there were 8 red monthly candles for Bitcoin. Okay, so every year, so you have the Bitcoin halving year, the year after that, traditionally, right, based off the 4-year global debt cycle, that's Bitcoin bull market year, which is what we're in now. The year after that, there was always 8 red monthly candles. Always 8. I mean, if you go back to Alan, look, it started in January 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then 8. You buy on the 8th one, okay? So if we get something like that, the thing is, you know there's going to be 8 candles, you just don't know their size. But, another big but, Bitcoin in 2024 had 1, 2, 3 red monthly candles, okay? Even though its price was only 17% down in this 6-month period, the fact that there were 3 red months, altcoins dropped 85%. We all know it, right? They're still actually ravaged. Most of them are still ravaged from here. Like, for example, Hex, PulseChain, heaps of things are still crushed here. I mean, Ethereum was $4,000 here, friends. Ethereum is still crushed from here. Like, point proven, right? So that's something we've also seen. So Bitcoin can have a 2% red monthly candle. It doesn't even matter the size of the candle. The fact that it's red and it means dopamine cutoff and it means business cycle lower, damage, it means downside for altcoins, okay? So that's something also to think about and prepare for next year if we do get some sort of nice run up. Also, it's kind of scary. Everybody has the same price target. They go anywhere from 150 to 250 Bitcoin BTC price. I'm like, oh, bro, please, please, please blow to the upside. Please, please. Oh, man, it'll be so good, friends. Now, I'm really thinking, man, we got to get everybody to like, I want to see a euphoric market where people don't believe $100,000 is possible anymore or $80,000. That's what I want to see. That's how we know, oh, wow, we're at the top. We're at the top. We're like, $80,000 is ridiculous. It's stupid. Yeah. I won't be going around saying that. No, of course not. But we'll be doing some polls. We'll be asking people and we'll feel it ourselves. So it will be tough. But yes, that's what we'll be looking for. That's why Bitcoin 200K, can it drop 50%? Yeah. You know, so what's that number got to be, bro? That's why I'm thinking about that number, friends. Like, I'm dreaming of that number. What number is it going to be? Is it like a 270? You know, is it a $270,000 Bitcoin? Is it a $300,000 Bitcoin where we say, you know what, you're never going below 100K ever again, right? That's, you know, we'll think about that later. Now, Meta Planet, friends, the Japanese stock market company, has issued $50 million in 0% bonds to buy more BTC. So everybody's doing this. Everyone in the world, they're raising money. They're just buying Bitcoin and put it on the balance sheet. Okay, so why are they doing that? Michael Saylor got to them, which is what we want, okay? Michael Saylor has captured them with his Pokeball, just like I'm capturing you. He's told everybody, you know, your US Treasury bond, this is why, friends, okay, the government's going to figure out we're a Trojan horse, you idiots. Okay? They are going to go back on their pro-Bitcoin statements once you retardios all notice that people are dumping treasuries for them. Okay? I don't know when it's going to happen, but it is going to happen. And you haven't heard this from any other channel. Not Crypto Banter, not Ivan, no one. Okay, this is your friend Sammy Specialty. I'm telling you this is going to happen because I'm turbo bullish, but I'm also telling you there's a limit. Okay? We will see US Treasury bonds at some point. They will get affected by BTC. US government is going to have an emergency meeting in the back and they're going to go, wait a minute. Have we been taken for a fool? This Bitcoin is impacting our ability to raise money and spend as politicians. What are we actually doing here? Okay. So that's coming. Okay. Now, right now, everybody's doing the let's raise money infinitely to buy BTC because, like I said, Michael Saylor's told them your government yield's only 4%. Okay. But the 4-year growth rate of Bitcoin is crushing everything. I have written the 4-year growth rate of Bitcoin from halvening to halvening. I've got it here, right, for you. Look what it is right now. From 2020 to 2024, it was 67%. So like, this is, I wrote 40% here. 40%, you're like, oh, that's diminishing. Bro, but would you rather 40 or would you rather 8? That's a stock market, okay? Would you rather 40 or would you rather like 4? Because what Michael Saylor is convincing him is, he's saying, no. Bitcoin is like cash. So he says, don't compare the Bitcoin, even though it crushes the stock market, it's not stocks. So you're not buying a stock to put on your company treasury. You're just saving money. Okay? There's a complete difference in that. It's manipulation. It's coercion. He's basically coercing him, saying it is coercion. He's saying, this is not like owning stocks, dude. This is the revolution, the new digital finance. You're owning Godzilla. You know all these words? You're owning a nuclear weapon and everyone's using bow and arrow. That's what he's basically convincing him. So when he's convincing these companies to put Bitcoin on their balance sheet, they don't think they're like turbo long on an extension of the NASDAQ. They don't think that, even though statistically they are. Okay, they are that. But they've just, now that, see friends, we're in this realm of, we have now suspended our belief. There is no our limiting beliefs, they've now been paused. So this gives us the runway to continue the cycle. And obviously we're just going to guess, right? It is total guess. What number do they stop at? I don't know, but hopefully there'll be science, right? The IMF, friends, remember, one of the most evil and poisonous organizations of the world, dystopian future, probably run by non-human intelligence up there as well, along with the Bank of International Settlements. The IMF and the BIS, just to remind you, friends, they are above the US Fed. The US Fed actually part owner of them, so they are the same thing. But they have international immunity. So they are literally, I'm not making this up, immune from international law. No government in the world has any authority to raid them, to audit them, to check their money, and they have full permission to hide everything, and they have full control over everything in the world. All these world policy stuff out here all comes from there. Richard Dolan, UFO researcher, he also has credible, he says, I hope he tells a story one day. He hasn't told the story yet, I think. He says he's got very, very credible sources that say there are many alien, non-human intelligence interference stories with the Bank of International Settlements where either they themselves are either avatars, there are some people there, not even real people, right? Obviously just like an alien dude walking around, or some sort of, you know, maybe it is a human, but you're being controlled, right? There's like some sort of like, hey, tell the people to do this, right? So he's never touched on it, but I'm just shedding light out here. So obviously the IMF print all the world currency, yeah. The IMF has reached a staff-level agreement with El Salvador on extended fund facility, noting efforts will continue to ensure Bitcoin held across government-owned wallets remains unchanged. So IMF want Bitcoin not to be held by El Salvador so they can keep loaning out money. So they figured something out. Look, we don't know what it is. We'll know later. Okay, we'll know later. Remember, they got Blackrock on the line. Remember, company Block they're going to launch Bitcoin payments on Square, rolling out in the second half of 2025. So crypto's the future, digital payments, everyone wants to use it. So everything's going digital. You can pay money fast, you can earn yield, do weird stuff. You got your own little cult and communities and everything out here. Really is changing the world out here. And yet things are cheaper. You can access more stuff. They just create things. It's, you know, new financial Lego things out here. So we expect more companies to really add stuff and features out here. Michael Saylor, once again, Bitcoin is money. Everything else is credit. So, friends, I love Bitcoin, okay? So, remember, I bought Bitcoin before Michael Saylor did. Yeah? We're an extension of the NASDAQ, bro. Sorry. We're an extension of the NASDAQ. Okay? The NASDAQ has 95% global M2 liquidity correlation. We've got 89.5%. Yeah? As we add more infrastructure, which is altcoins, it's inevitable we make more centralized solutions. The bulk of crypto is just going to be technology companies merging with finance and AI. We're an extension of the stock market. We're like the 8th sector of the S&P 500. That is what's being built out right now for most people. Now, everything I've said, if you are a company CEO, you've just spent 3 hours literally listening to Michael Saylor's talk. Everything I just said, you think that's FUD. And even if you don't think it's FUD, you actually believe that's true, which it is, you probably like got that. They probably got that euphoric drunkenness in their mind, because Bitcoin, he's literally saying $13 million. Like he's just going to keep saying it. He's just going to get him in. Okay, so just remember that. Telegram, friends, Telegram are going to raise $1.5 billion in bond sales with a 9% yield. Roca Negra, Citadel, Mabadala expected to invest. So remember, Telegram's compromised, obviously. Remember, Pavel, friends, what happened? There was an Israeli Mossad agent spy, that girl, forgot her name, just another hoe bag, you know, just some hoe bag. Anyway, he was dating her. She convinced him, oh, I really, really want to go to France on this specific date in your private jet. And then as I got there, she literally uploaded like 27 selfies of like all of her locations with him in France, and then he gets arrested there. They basically make him disappear for a weekend. Do you remember that weekend? Friends, I reported on it last year. So Pavel, pretty much, remember Pavel Drew, I'll show you. So here is Pavel, okay? Pavel out here. So they locked him up for like a weekend. Obviously, who knows what they inserted into him. Probably probed him, no lube. And yeah, the reason why is because, well, what turns out, do you know Israel-Palestine stuff? So what was happening was some Palestinians, or I don't know, some Arabs in the Middle East, they made Telegram channels and they were leaking Israeli soldier docs information, okay, around the world and in Israel itself. They're like, hey, this person lives here, they're an army soldier, whatever. Probably, I think, you know, like there's an Israeli soldier. This is like this person's in France, this person's in Europe, right? So it was just this database that they're just leaking into there. Israeli government tried to get it deleted. That's when they went and they go, hey, find out who owns this Telegram. There's no admin response here, you know? And then that's when Pavel was like, we don't delete any of this stuff. We're all about decentralization, okay? I'm never going to delete it. The thing is, though, it's not about whether you want to delete it. It's can you delete it? The answer is yes, you can. And that's why they set him up with the HoneyTrap, okay? So that leads us to where we are today, friends. Now, surprise, surprise, Telegram doing a bond sale. Blackrock is buying, so, and Citadel. So here you go, the bug eaters are coming in, okay? So have you noticed, though, friends, a theme is, okay, that's why if you're in PulseChain, okay, look, we removed the power button, bro, okay? There's no kill switch. If PDI, the unstable coin, becomes stable, there's no kill switch for it. That's it. There's literally no kill switch. The validators work all across the world for PulseChain. No one can shut down PulseX. There's a price that trades. No one can shut it down around the world. It's fully decentralized, okay? It works. And if this unstable coin decides to be unstably ranging between 99 cents and $1.01 in the future, no one can stop it. Yeah. Now, obviously, you could dump all the supply, and if there's things not done correctly, you get it. But there's no kill switch, okay? So if someone owns this and it's working, you can't do it. See, the thing is with Telegram and all these, you can do it. That's why they're like, hey, you can press the off button, just go do it. Look what happened with PUI, SUI. $220 million hacks. Everybody was like, you know what, let's just bar this guy. And they did. Centralized. So that's why crypto was invented to remove middleman access. Okay, because we're all human. Okay, you and I, we're people of the government too, friends. If you were hired in the government and they go, okay, you got to save the population, this is what you got to do. You're like, oh yeah, I totally agree. We got to do stuff like that. So that's the game. So that's why crypto, we build and use this technology. We remove the off button. We remove the kill switch. Unlike USDT and USDC, which are cuck currencies. Gamestop GME has purchased 4,700 BTC. I showed you their chart before. So everybody's trying to get on board the BTC train. In 2017, friends, remember, any company with the word crypto, their stocks just started pumping. In 1999, if a company just put webnet or internet, they renamed their company to like internet company, they started pumping as well. So maybe by the end of this year, any company that just, all these companies that say, we are now, we're not an orange juice maker. We're Bitcoin orange juice maker, and we're going to put Bitcoin on the balance sheet. Maybe we just start seeing stocks just flying. It's like Bitcoin balance sheet season. And that's a sign of like, remember the government money printing, it's hit the end of the business cycle PMI, which is another thing we got to think about, right? Business cycle PMI still hasn't, remember, we're still low. So how long is this going to go for? I don't know. All right. That's why, like, it's a cycle. Look, here's the thing. The cycle can, like, friends, PMI, it can shoot up super aggressively and roll over and come down like that. But I guess we'll wait and see, right? We'll wait and see. Also interesting. So the Telegram Foundation has hired ex-Visa executive Nicola to lead global payment strategy as it scales for 1 billion Telegram users. So Visa, MasterCard, everything, all their lunches are getting eaten up. Now, I'm quickly going to show you the BTC price out here, friends. So if we do a bit of skitsy action, this is my friend Colin Talks Crypto with his chart here. And actually, Colin has kindly left us a message.
Hey guys, I hope you're doing well. My name's Colin. This is Colin Talks Crypto.
So in this video as well, I love you, Colin. You're the best, bro. He's so nice as well.
Take a guess where I am while I'm recording this brief message to you.
So his video is about, friends, he says he still believes in the global M2 correlation. And he actually, at the end, he made like these topping indicators suite. He basically just put like, many indicators together and just tries to get a scale, like have we topped out or not out here. I'm just going to warn you about stuff like that. I was here in 2021. Only one indicator said we topped out, and it was the price cycle indicator. And out of the other 30, 29 failed. Only one cycle indicator worked, the price cycle. So if you were like going, I'm going to go off, sell every time one of these indicators says we've topped out. Okay, you sold one piece out of 30 and you're still holding with the rest of us. So I'm not using any of that. I don't believe, something tells me, nah. Something tells me the world's pure. We're going to see some really wild, crazy, wacky stuff. And it might just come down to simple calendar formation of you sell in the fourth quarter, post Bitcoin halving year. That's what's worked 3 out of 3 times. That's what would be October, November, December this year. So we'll see. Check this out as well, friends. So the US Labor Department, they have withdrawn their 2022 warning against crypto in your 401k, like your superannuation, your savings. So now we can have it in the Bitcoin. We have a Bitcoin FOMO for retirement plans, which is, oh man, friends, in 2022 and 2023, if you guys were around, okay, a lot of you were. Do you remember all my videos I made? And I said, look, I don't know why, but I'm seeing this occur. We get all the boomers into Bitcoin. They buy the top, Blackrock, all this ETF, and that's the Trojan horse where they go minus 75% down in the next bear market on Bitcoin because it actually goes up too high and it just smacks down too much. And then all these people, these new boomers, okay, these new people, remember, they outnumber the original people. So they have more voting power. They have more political say. They can go ask the government, you got to regulate this more. You got to do this. You got to like make it more curated out here. So that's an extremely big risk, friends, because Everyone says it's bull market stuff. You know what I mean? Like you only know candles going up, bro. You know, we know it's going to end one day. I mean, it's crypto times. You know, we've been waiting for a long time to go up, but we know what's going to end one day. You know what it's like for things to go down for a year. It just takes 6 months, right? Now it's not going to happen now. I don't think. Well, I don't know, but yeah, man, we're going to onboard a lot of weak hands. FTX's $5 billion distribution. It's starting May 30. That's awesome. So that might be a stimulus where, you know, markets just go up. People start punting. A lot of people said, oh, I'll never touch crypto again. Okay, bro. Okay, bro. You're going to buy your Johnson & Johnson stock that's pumped up 40% over 14 years? No, you're not, bro. Okay. You're going to get some dirty, sexy altcoins because they're up 700% and you want a piece of the action. That's what's going to happen. JD Vance has said 50 million Americans own Bitcoin and he thinks it's going to be 100 million. So everything I just said about the boomers, funny, this news piece of information just literally confirms it. Remember, friends, they're all buying the high, bro. You know, so like, yeah, you and I, you know, we're in Bitcoin below $30,000 days. These people might be Bitcoin $150,000 days and they outnumber everybody like 5 to 1. So you have like, if in a room of 100 people, 20 are early, 80 have bought over 150,000 and they're getting crushed on their retirement plan. The government, it's 80 votes, 80 voices versus 20. Those 80, man, that's why be careful what you wish for once you get the normies in. Roca Negra has bought 10% of Circle's USDC IPO. So this is funny because we heard those rumors of Cripple basically saying, we're going to buy Circle, we're going to buy USDC. And I kept saying, bro, with what money? You only get income from one place, dumping on XRP investors, and you've only got 1.1 billion on the balance sheet. How are you going to fork out the other 8 billion? And then, by the way, Circle, its fair value, it's already trading at 15 billion. So for some reason, they're trying to like buy it at like half price, which they don't even have the money for out here. And then it was all psyops anyway. They're selling their shares to Roca Negra. So there you go, friends. It's all coming in, isn't it? So you want to unlock higher prices and get the normies in? This is what happens. That's why, like, it's cool though. This is just society. And yeah, it does open the way for PulseChain and PDI's product market fit. Pakistan government is reportedly planning to establish a Bitcoin reserve. They said, we are holding Bitcoin. We will never sell them. And I've immediately written, I don't trust them. I don't trust you, bro. We will never sell. Shut up, bro. Bro, you're coming in at 110,000. Who are you? You know what I mean? You guys are banning it 15 times a year for like the whole 7 years I've been in crypto. You know what I mean? Like, I don't trust them. Don't believe any of these governments, friends. It's just all bullshit. you know it's all BS. Oh, man. Eric Trump. Everybody in the world wants Bitcoin. Yeah, so that's what they're going to keep cheering on the mantra. Eric Trump also claims the financial system is broken and crypto solves all the problems, which is very true. 21 Shares has filed for Dogecoin ETF. It's kind of funny, man. Like a spot Dogecoin ETF, it doesn't even seem that euphoric and wild now. How far have we come, man? That used to be like, oh my gosh, no way that'll happen. Now it's like, yeah, it's got to happen. Which makes you think, okay, what's the that'll never happen euphoric moment then? Donald Trump gets a Bitcoin tattoo. You know what I mean? Like just something where you're just like, whoa, that'll never happen, you know? Dogecoin spot ETF, you know that'll happen. I've already taught you. Network effects, Elon Musk, he's got Twitter, cross payments. Maybe, you know, you have Doge and they put applications. You know what I mean? Like you can see that world happening. I want to be shocked though. Shocked. I wonder what it's going to be, man. You know, could there anything be more shocking than the US Fed saying we're going to buy Bitcoin? Could there be anything more shocking than that? I will, friends, if I see that, I'm going to have to tell you, I don't believe it. I'm calling their bluff. It's psyops. They're planning something evil and sinister. If I actually see that, and it's at the top, it's like December this year. I go, no, bro. Friends, that's, you know, that is like, okay, you are watching El Capo, you know, world criminal, saying, I am stopping my drug syndicate. I will now join the police force. Yeah? It would be that equivalent. Or the opposite. A police commissioner says, you know what? I'm done with being a cop. I'm gonna go deal drugs now. So if I saw that, I'm like, Only in the movies, bro. Something else is going on. Nvidia, AI powerhouse, has risen 5% after hours following their earnings report. So Nvidia, friends, it's probably going to take over the world in terms of merging with the crypto narrative, GameSpot, you know, Bitcoin, because Nvidia, obviously AI, this thing is, friends, this thing is in Nvidia stock by itself is the entire crypto industry. It's like 3.3 trillion in size. Man, that's wild, bro. So all the wealth ever made in crypto, one stock has also done that. One stock, Nvidia. I've heard some stories of people out there, friends. Do you guys know? I've heard some stories of people like they've been like working at Nvidia for like, you know, 10 or 15 years. Yeah, and their stocks have like gone up like 40x, something ridiculous. You know, they had like 100 grand back then, and like just floors of people have between like, you know, 4 million and like 12 million in the company because the stock just pumped so freaking hard. I mean, you're talking about Nvidia, where it came from. My gosh, even from 2020, bro, it used to be $5. Oh my gosh, man, yeah. So I've heard so many stories, 25x, jeez. But of course, that's a unicorn. You know, not all the other companies and stuff did something like that. Look at Johnson & Johnson baby bum powder. Vice President JD Vance says, we don't believe Bitcoin competes with the US dollar. Once again, friends, I love you. Team America. I'm on Team America. Yes, I want us to succeed. Absolutely do not believe that bullshit. That is the biggest PSYOP statement. That is no way going to hold up. It's just your emotions talking. There is no freaking way, bro. No. We don't believe it competes. Okay, dude. Then one day, we are going to see a downtick of those US treasuries, and it will be a Bitcoin-related news event. We will see it. Okay, and it's going to make a, wait a minute, right? Bitcoin will become a strategically important asset for the United States. We'll see. Now, we have this video here from Arthur Hayes calling for a 1 million BTC. Arthur believes that there is no 4-year cycle. We're going to run to 2028, and it's going to $1 million. He thinks the cycle's broken. There is no cycle and stuff out here. Okay, but also to let you know, bro, when Arthur can change his mind straight away. Okay, so don't hold all of these to the flame.
Where do I get this idea that Bitcoin could hit $1 million?
Where
do I get this idea that Bitcoin could hit $1 million? So if we think about QE for poor people, banks lending more into the real economy, I estimate that could be up to $3 trillion of bank credit that will be created between now and 2028. The statistic to look for is on the weekly Federal Reserve balance sheet, other deposits and liabilities. We'll see that happening there. If the banks are allowed to buy treasury bonds, it's estimated that $900 billion of foreign demand could evaporate. And that has to be replaced by commercial banks who now can buy these treasuries with infinite leverage. And finally, let's free Fannie and Freddie and bring $5 trillion of liquidity to the markets, which gets us close to $9 trillion printed or between now and 2028. And let's put this into context. During COVID, the COVID stimulus programs and all the aid that was given to the financial sector within the United States totaled about $4 trillion. And from the lows of March of 2020 to 70,000 in 2021 in November, we went up about 10x. Remember, price is set on the margin. It matters about the much larger marginal price, not the whole stock. And so if we have less Bitcoin on exchanges due to ETF demand, and we're printing double the amount of money between now and 2028 than when we did till COVID, then Bitcoin $1 million is just easy. Thank you very much.
So, interesting. Look, I'm just going to tell you something, okay? In Zombie Virus 2020, when they printed money, there was a lot of excess money supply because it was a dire black swan situation. A lot of the money supply went into Bitcoin. We had trash alt season, right? Why is that? You know that because altcoins follow the business cycle. The business cycle did go up, okay, but a lot of the business cycle was damaged because of the black swan. So in terms of if you have two big macro cyclical forces, like I've explained for you, friends, I'm a complete guide for crypto, my currency that I release for you all the time. You have global M2, the money printer, one force, and then you have the business cycle, another force, okay? So last cycle, global M2 took over more because we had a huge damage to the business cycle Obviously, you know, everybody's stuck at home. No one wants to own a business. Gyms are closing down. Everything's closing down. Okay, because remember, the bat had sex with the Pokeball, and then you weren't allowed to say it came from a Chinese lab, and yada yada. Okay, so in 2017, though, that's another cycle. We did not have excess money printing like that previous one we just had. It was opposite. We had a super strong business cycle, and the money printing, of course, still happened, but they did not need to accelerate it to fill up a hole. So all I'm going to guess is that because Donald Trump is in, it's just total guess, is that it's going to happen again. So that's why Arthur Hayes' his whole premise is he goes, there's going to be a big gap. They're going to print the money. It's going to flow to Bitcoin. I know they're going to print money. I don't think there's going to be Black Swan because we're all expecting it. I think it's just going to be a normal business cycle where we push up. Maybe the stock market really is high, so we just get a limited amount stocks, and then we do come down, just like everything else. Okay, so I hope you understand that difference, right? So I have it here, right? In this cycle, 2017, there was no Black Swan. Trump comes in, gives everybody positive optimism, and the cycle continues. China prints, but there's no big black hole to basically Black Swan, black hole to fill. Okay, we had that in 2021. So that's why you also notice that people who are expecting the 2021, they're going to get cucked really, really, really hard. They are getting cucked now. Firstly, they're sidelined. Secondly, they're just full on Bitcoin dominance, maxis only. But Bitcoin dominance has been rewarding them by going up because everybody's turbo buying it on leverage. You see? So you can see how once everybody realizes they're wrong, we can get some big explosive alt seasons to appear. When's that going to happen? Let's wait and see. Like, subscribe, belly button, or catch you soon.